Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out the latest patch for Heroes of Hammerwatch 2. And I'm glad they released something so quick because I was actually getting frustrated with the last build, 125. Some of the enemies I just think were a bit overtuned. And we're going to take a quick look at this. I'm still downloading the patch, so I haven't had a chance to test it out yet. So the first thing to look at for build 126, fixed spell mastery taking more skill points than it should. And I did notice this. I was the fire sorcerer, and I wanted to take the fire upgrade. I think that was like 5 skill points. I took that, and I went from my 5 skill points that I had to -4. It was taking 9 instead of 5. And I do know that whenever you take the all spells upgrade, that is 9 skill points. So I think they had like the cost of 9 skill points for all of them, rather than it just being 9 skill points for all spells, then 5 skill points for like the physical fire, ice, and so on. So I think that was an issue, and they addressed that. Another thing that they did, fixed issue of donating immediately when opening chapel donation window when using gamepads. Yeah, that would be that'd be a real kick in the you know what, wouldn't it? Could you imagine like needing those resources for something else and the game just automatically donates it? That would be awful. So it looks like they fixed that. I don't use a controller. I use mouse and keyboard though. Lowered quartz undead archer damage. That's what I just died to that. I just died to that. There were 3 of those undead archers, and they shot at the same time, and I went from 1600 health to like 200 health, and another volley killed me. I couldn't believe. I'm like, seriously? I was like doing pretty well, and then dead. So yeah, those things needed a nerf big time. Made bannermen, banner projector art. That's another issue I had. I noticed that when I was trying to NG push to like 6 or 7, I noticed that the healing was like outdoing my damage on some classes. Like if you're the warlock and you've got great DPS, like you can outdo that healing. But if you're a paladin or something that doesn't do as much damage, or if you're using weapon damage as your primary source of damage, because like the ranger uses your bows and the warrior typically uses the twirly axe thing, just spin it around, spin to win. The characters and the classes that use weapon damage in conjunction with spell damage are at a disadvantage until they actually fix the whole weapon damage thing. Yeah, they added armor pen. Woohoo! I think they could do a better job, honestly, upping the weapon damage, because I'm still noticing that skill damage is where it's at. So they still have some work to do with that. Lowered armor, resistances, and health of banners. Yeah, I noticed that too. Like, the enemies actually died faster than the banners. So, like, I'm sitting there, like, trying to take out the banners so that they can't be healed anymore. And I felt like I was fighting a tank. So, I'm glad they lowered that. But the problem is, with these patch notes, they don't tell you by what percent. They just said lowered. What is it, by 0.5%, 5%, 10? Unless I actually go into game code, which I have no interest in doing, I won't know that. So I wish that they would actually give me concrete numbers here to see how significant that is. Because I could say, oh yeah, I fixed that, I lowered it. But what I really did was I lowered it by 0.5%, claiming that I lowered. You know what I mean? So I wish they gave actual numbers in these patch notes. Added marker effects to banners and bannermen to improve visibility. Yeah, I noticed that too when I'm trying to snipe banners. It's hard to see sometimes. These old eyes sometimes miss them. Fixed protection banner healing enemies? Interesting. I didn't know that was the thing. I did notice that when I walked into the barracks and the courts. Every group of enemies I was up against was healing. It was constant healing. And yes, I had them, like, I took out one group, moved to a different area away from the banners, and then attacked a new group, and they were being healed. So it's like every group I was coming across was being healed, so I bet you that had something to do with it. Fixed warrior tyrant chains damage not properly scaling with skill leveling. I didn't notice that, to be honest. I haven't played the warrior tyrant recently. I played the ranger and the wizard post-patch. Fixed elemental orb duration not properly scaling with skill upgrade. Okay, that's an issue. Fixed Incanter's cadence for the wizard. Enchantress flow skill description. Okay, so I guess they fixed that. I didn't notice. Fixed, rarely incorporated, or incorrectly placed projectile shooters in crypt. I wonder if that means that, like, those little tower projectile things were, like, in weird places, like in corners. So maybe that, I didn't notice that, but maybe that was a thing. Fixed the trap room in courts never appearing. Okay. The only trap room, I mean, there's a couple in the courts I know of, like that one where you go around, there's electric lightning things going all over the place, and you have to go around and collect it before getting killed by the electric. I know that one. I've seen that one pre-patch. And there was that zigzag one with the electric beams, and you have to get to the chest on the bottom. I've seen that one. But I don't know what other chest trap rooms there were, to be honest with you. Oh, maybe that fire one? But I think I'd just seen that in my run, so I don't know which one they're talking about. Fixed blacksmith not being able to upgrade items when player has full inventory. I typically don't worry about that. I always empty after a run, but still, I'm glad they fixed that. Then they go on to say, this is just a small patch with fixes. The next larger patch will be a rework of how you get curse, intended to change it to move to a more risk-reward mechanic rather than a combat mechanic. I can't wait. Okay, curse is... I like the idea of curse, but I don't like that it's forced on me. Like, every time I go on an NG1 plus run, I'm always taking the same stupid things. Bishop's Blessed Bread, and then that curse drink that negates 50% but does true damage. I'm always taking those. I want more variety in the drinks and food I take, and it's because of curse. So I'm glad that they're working on that. They still have some more work to do. They really do. If I play this game for too long, I notice a memory leak and everything starts to lag real bad. So I have to exit the game and then relaunch it, and usually that fixes the problem. So, like, I still feel like there's some balance issues with weapon damage that needs addressed. I still think they don't have the NG penalties right. Like, in the previous patch, which I don't know if I could pull up. I can. There was an issue. Let's see, NG armor. Yeah, so, like, negative armor and resistance are no longer half as powerful. So, like, a negative 100 is really negative 100, rather than it being, like, 50, negative 50. But they have that from, so negative 120 to negative 65, like, they have the penalty. So it's like, so they made the effect worse, but they halved the NG penalty. So, like, it almost cancels each other out. I still feel like they need more work in that regard. I mean, unless they're going for Heroes of Hammerwatch 2, where you're no longer up to NG 6 million, like in the first game. Like, you know what I mean? Unless they're going for that. Maybe they want to cap players. I don't know. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to think. Feel free to leave comments in the below. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.